Welcome back. This is a continuation of our Who's Hiring series on the Huntsman YouTube channel. And for all of our students across the university and including our Huntsman students, these are opportunities to be introduced to some of our amazing corporate partners who are hiring. And today our guest, we're excited to have Ruby Park and Earl from Lucid Software. Ruby is one of our own, a graduate of the Huntsman School, and we're excited to have you. So welcome, Ruby.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and a part of this podcast.
Wonderful. Well, Ruby, would you introduce yourself to our students and to our audience today?
Yeah, of course. Happy to. My name is Ruby, and I graduated from Utah State with a marketing degree in, I guess, May of 2017, which it seems like it wasn't that long ago, but I realize that it's 2020 and soon it won't be even that. So time's flown. Right out of school, I was able to start a job at Lucid as a inside sales rep on the sales development team. So really, really exciting, and wasn't really quite sure what I was getting myself into. And after about a year as a sales development rep, was able to transition into managing the team, which I've been doing for the last year and a half. So all in all, I've been at Lucid for a little over 2.5 years now. I've had really, really great opportunities to be able to grow not only professionally as a salesperson and sales leader and focus on processes and people and systems and making sure that those are aligned, but also to be able to grow personally as well, which I think is just as important, to be able to continue to learn skills that not only will benefit you in the workplace, but out of it as well. So it's a little bit about me and what I've been up to.
Well, wonderful. And I was fortunate to have Ruby in one of my strategic sales classes and to have her be actively involved in the Huntsman School and as a university ambassador across the university. So Ruby, these are special connections that we get to have with our alum. Tell our audience a little bit about the current role that you are in at Lucid and kind of what you do on a day-to-day basis in that role.
Yeah, of course. So currently I manage our sales development team, which a sales development team can mean a lot of different things at a lot of different tech companies. And so at Lucid, how we've defined sales development is it's primarily an inbound role. So you're working leads that come from a variety of different places. So whether that's from the website, people going on the website and sending in an inquiry, literally, or calling in, ranging all the way to trade shows, where if you think about a career fair with all the booths, as at Lucid and a lot of other organizations, they have different trade shows that you can go to similar to a career fair. So we work even those leads as well. We also have leads that are set up to us from our marketing team as well, from different white pages that are out on the that we put on different resources like LinkedIn, for example. If you're clicking on that and wanting to download some content that we've created, those leads will also be able to come to us as well. So all in all, our team is working inbound leads. They range from being the warmest of warm to maybe not so warm, but they at least should have some sort of recognition of understanding what Lucid Chart is, which is really exciting. So it's been lots of fun, and been managing this team, like I mentioned, for about 1.5 years now. So we've been able to change some processes around and help keep our team organized. And as we've continued to scale Lucid across the globe, and we have sales development reps that are in different countries as well that help service and work for some of our clients that speak specific languages and work in specific time zones. So it's been really, really exciting, and been able to help be a part of the hiring process of a lot of those reps, also there and here as well. But also making a lot of decisions on behalf of our team to make sure that we are continuing to move in the right direction, where we're able to provide all the right resources to our team so that they can be successful and ultimately hit their goals that they have to either get promoted or make the money that they're wanting, which is fantastic. So love my job, I guess. It's not past tense. I do love my job lots, and I've learned a lot being in it.
Ruby, maybe for those that don't know a lot about Lucid, can you tell them a little bit about what you sell and kind of what your product is?
Oh yeah, of course. So we have 2 different products at Lucid. We have Lucid Chart and Lucid Press. Lucid Press is a visualization platform that allows for people to put together collateral or content that is seamless across the board so that you can make sure that you have everybody. For example, up at Utah State, you have a bunch of different colleges, and each of these colleges might be putting out different content or collateral for prospective students or even current students, but it may not align between, you know, the arts college and the Huntsman school, right? Which is really, really important that you have the same type of collateral so that students don't get confused on brand. So it's meant to help align on brand and make sure that that brand's in line, which has been extremely beneficial to a lot of companies out there. And so that's a little bit about Lucid Press. Lucid Chart is a diagramming platform that allows for you to visualize processes. As I mentioned, you know, I'm very passionate about people, processes, and systems, and Lucid Chart has allowed for me personally, as I use it, to map out different systems, different ways that we are going to organize processes, but also to make sure that I'm aligned with people, you know, even just org charts. So varieties of use cases on both products, but both of these products have been able to help serve, you know, over 15 million users worldwide, which has been really exciting, and that's continued to grow, you know, over time. And we've, again, continued to expand to different offices as well, which has been fantastic. So we're no longer just a, you know, a Utah-based company, which I think is fantastic. We are a global company that has multiple locations where people are able to have and get access to Lucid Chart and Lucid Press. So again, they're both in the cloud, both fantastic companies, can use from, you know, whether you're on your iPhone or iPad or Mac, PC, I don't know all the names of all the tools out there these days, but it's really exciting to see how it's continued to grow and develop over the last few years, and there's still more to come.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Ruby. And I would encourage our students to take a look at Lucid's website, because there's a lot of information relating to history. It's a fantastic history, and one that you should know, especially here in Silicon Slopes. And they're certainly larger, as Ruby says, than just a Utah-based tech company growing. And I think I want to talk about that growth, because even amid the current crisis that we're in from the COVID-19 coronavirus, how is Lucid been able to continue its momentum and growing and even hiring today?
Yeah, it's awesome. I feel extremely lucky myself, but everybody needs to be able to visualize processes. I work on our Lucid Chart side, so we have two different sides of products. I'm going to focus a little bit more of this on Lucid Chart, but everybody being remote, even when they're in person, they need processes. Think about the number of times that you go to the whiteboard and you start drawing out a process. Okay, this is going to be step 1, and then step 2, and then step 3. Well, what happens when you leave the whiteboard, right? Somebody's probably got to take all that information down and put it into an email and send it out to everybody and say, hey, this is, you know, our process that we're going to follow. But the problem is, even if you have a bunch of words that are documented on an email, most people, 80% of people, think visually, and they want to be able to process that. And so with a tool like Lucid Chart, you're able to visualize your processes, regardless of how complicated that they may be. People are able to digest that content that you're putting together and understand how to execute on something. So especially being remote, communication can be a little tricky. While we have great tools like Slack and Zoom and, you know, many other tools that have been a great help during this time, it's also extremely important to be able to communicate processes clearly without having to say, oh, Professor Bone, I have a question on this. You know, you don't want to get pinged 10 times after you send an email. You want to be able to send it with clarity and say, hey, this is a concise layout of how we're going to be adjusting this process, or this is what I want you guys to follow, so that you don't get 1,000 questions on it. So because of that, it's been used across multiple companies, right? 99% of the Fortune 500 utilizes Lucid Chart, which is pretty remarkable. But even more than that, as we've come into this like troubling time, we've had schools, right, that have had to be canceled. And there have been more school districts reaching out to get Lucid Chart and Lucid Press for being able to help teach their students while they're remote. And again, there's been lots of other companies, big and small, that have said now more than ever, we need to have everything documented and processed out so that if we onboard new people or if certain things come about, we are prepared and ready to execute on it. So we've continued to grow and scale because our product is a product that is crucial. I think it's mission critical for a lot of organizations to be able to have this kind of content put together so that they can easily explain their processes, as I've mentioned. So yeah, it's been really, really exciting times, but hopefully that makes sense of how we've been able to continue to grow and scale.
No, and it's exciting. Tell us a little bit about the positions that you're hiring for currently, and a little bit more about what those roles are.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple of those different roles, they vary, specifically to our sales org, right? I'll touch on that a little bit more because that's where I am the most familiar and where I live. We've got some openings for our, sales development roles. We also have some openings for some of our like closing teams as well. So people that might have already had some sort of time or practice in, I would like to say, a tech company doing some sort of setting cells, whether that's inbound or outbound. So there's both of those roles that are open and available for students to apply for. I would say most students who do apply do start on a setting team, unless they have like exponential amount of, tech experience. But yeah, we've got some of those roles that are currently open and available for people to apply for.
Perfect. Let's, from a little candid kind of perspective, did you ever think you would be in this role when you were a student in marketing at Huntsman School? Maybe tell a little bit. I know a little bit about that story. Maybe share that story with our students as how you landed in sales and kind of what that's opened up in terms of opportunities for you.
Yeah. Well, I have you to thank for that one. Taking your pro sales class was a fantastic opportunity for me, and one that, truth be told, I wasn't super stoked about at the get-go, but realizing how effective your class was and that the principles that were taught are relatable to the real world. And because there's some classes that you're like, oh, is this am I gonna ever use this again? But pro sales, I have 100% used every single day since leaving your class and starting my role. Essentially, I had applied to Lucid for a marketing internship. October of my senior year, I was trying to find some internships since I was, commuting from Salt Lake up to Logan. And so I was thinking, okay, what internships can I find to fill my time for the spring before graduation? And applied for a marketing internship at Lucid, and because of you and the opportunities that pro sales provided, I had done a role play with Lucid for an assignment a few months earlier, and had connected with a couple of the people out there, including Peter Chun and Dan Cook. And I was able to, when I went in for my marketing interview, run into them, and they said, hey, let's jump in a room for a few minutes and chat. And so was really, really lucky to be able to rub shoulders with them, and was ultimately offered a marketing role or a sales role. And despite the fact that at first I wasn't super stoked about getting a sales offer, I realized that Lucid is a world-class organization that I wanted to be a part of. I didn't really care what I was doing. I mean, you could have me sweeping the floors for all I care. That's how bad I wanted to be at Lucid. And so I figured, even if it doesn't seem right now like it's perfect for me, let me give it a shot. And I realized that sales has allowed for me to push myself out of my comfort zone, which I think is really important. And it continues to do so even today, which is why I'm still in the role I'm in. If I didn't feel like I was being pushed or continuing to grow, it'd be really hard for me to want to stay in a role that I feel like I've mastered all the way. And it's really important for me to be able to feel that, so that I am having that personal development for myself.
Maybe speak to that a little bit. One of the things I found really amazing about Lucid is the career progression and the opportunity, and that it's rapid in terms of how you can progress. Maybe speak to your own experience, but also for these students coming aboard as new members of a sales development team, what would that career progression look like?
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you, I was a sales development rep for a year, which is pretty much unheard of, and was able to transition directly into management, which is pretty atypical. But that opportunity opened up and I figured I might as well apply for it and see if that would be a fit. And the leadership team that was hiring for that role felt that I would be the best asset for this time in the role. So I feel really, really lucky. But I'll say most people that are on my team have a tenure on my team from anywhere from 6 to 10 months. I mean, it's really quick, even faster than when I was on the team. And they have the opportunity to get into either closing roles where they are able to close small business, or they are getting into more of an outbound, it's a hybrid outbound closing role that supports our enterprise segment as well, which is really, really exciting. That those are the two most typical promotion paths, obviously, within sales. We've had some reps that have gone other places within the organization. But the growth is really fast. And even on those teams, it's about 2 years in seat and then getting to a corporate level role, which is incredible, really. There's not a lot of companies that move and continue to grow as fast as Lucid does.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that perspective, Ruby. There's a lot of tech companies out there, a lot along Silicon Slopes, and certainly probably not as many today as there were a month ago hiring. But why should a student choose Lucid? What are some of the things that you would want them to consider as they're considering various opportunities?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and one that I would 100% make sure that students are aware of. Sometimes having the biggest dollar sign doesn't mean that you're going to love it the most, right? Um, it has been proven by a bunch of different professors and a bunch of different studies that um, despite the fact that you want to make money, happiness is what's going to be the most important to you. And whether that happiness is found through a variety of different ways. For me, what was most important was finding an organization that cared about my personal development and helping me become the best me. And I really do feel that Lucid has helped me become the best version of myself and allowed for me to grow in exponential ways that I wouldn't have been able to if I had gone other places. And what I think is important is to evaluate some of the things that are intangible. Who are you going to be working with? What are you actually going to be doing? Are people hitting their number? What is the typical tenure at their organization look like? Are people happy? Do people like working together? And I think those things are really important, along with growth path, like your career growth. Where are you going to be able to go? So I think all those things are extremely important. And outside of just the money factor, which I know a lot of people look at that dollar sign like, oh, that's great. Or, oh, I was thinking it was going to be more, which I think is important. Regardless of how the economy is sitting, I think it's important to evaluate those other factors that will contribute largely to your happiness.
That's really very wise and well stated, to think about the whole package of opportunity that makes you happy. And for the opportunities I've had to interact with you and other members of the Lucid team, the people is what makes this a really amazing opportunity. And people will talk about culture and they'll talk about perks and snack bars and ping pong tables, all that. But it's really comes down to, like you said, the interaction you have with your managers, interaction you have with your peers, and the types of people you're interacting with. So well stated. Ruby, how can they continue to engage? How would you want our students to continue to engage? As certainly there's students that are graduating here in a few weeks, others that are looking to graduate maybe in December. How can they engage for these opportunities on your team and other teams at Lucid?
Yeah, that's a great question. And something that I'll continue to mention is, we're still hoping to continue to hire for the rest of the year too. As I mentioned, our tenure on our team isn't super long. And so it's really, really important that we continue to have people that want to be a part of Lucid, that want to be in sales and to continue to grow and get better. And so I will say, although right now we're hiring for a position or two on my team, it doesn't mean in the future that people can't apply, right? But I will say that maybe some of the best ways to keep in touch with Lucid would be through our career page, which would be at golucid.co, or someone can reach out to me directly through LinkedIn. And again, my name's Ruby Park and Earl, and people are welcome to message me or ask any questions. I can't promise that I'm the quickest responder on LinkedIn, but I'm definitely there to help and make sure to point people in the right direction.
And I would thank you, Ruby. And this is a great opportunity for our students to sharpen their LinkedIn skills as they're building their profile, making themselves that much more attractive and visible for these opportunities. So it's a great reminder that we have time, hopefully now, to spend some time maybe sharpening our LinkedIn presence and doing our reach outs there. So Ruby, this has been a delight to connect with you. Again, it's always a blessing for me as your friend and colleague in the space to be able to connect with a former student that has succeeded and continues to succeed every day in their roles. And so thank you, Ruby, for joining us. And I encourage our students to take a look at the links that will follow in this podcast to become more familiar with Lucid and to do some reach outs for these opportunities. Thanks for joining us today, Ruby.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Take care.